Good Friday, everybody. So today we're going to make some cinnamon rolls. Now I have never done this before, but I'm going to use the same kneading method that I made for this recipe that you'll see on your screen right now, which is my buns. So we're going to use that same kneading method. So you're supposed to get some really good melting in your mouth type of kind of cinnamon bun. So let's get in the kitchen and let's put this recipe together with all these ingredients. I wanted to burp, oh gosh. So come on, let's get it. Oh, before we continue. Yes, we still have one the wig. And I see I could comb it and stuff and put it in plaits and stuff. Look there. Alright guys, let's go into the kitchen. Let's go. Cinnamon time. So we're going to start to make our buns. Cinnamon rolls, why have I said buns? So first we're going to proof our yeast. And how we're going to do that? We're going to melt half cup of butter into 2 cups of milk, and we'll go from there. So now let's put the butter and the milk together in your microwave, or do it on the stove and let it come to room temperature, or just let it get slightly heated. So if you want to do it that way and not let it break down on its own, you would want to use softened butter or have your butter out overnight. But if you do it like me and decide to make this last minute and all your butter is solid, you would put it in your pot or your microwave, heat up the milk and the butter together and let it cool down before you add your yeast. Okay, so let me stop rambling and let's put the butter and the milk on the stove. Let's go. So what I did, I heated the pot really hot first, then I add the milk and the butter, and took off the fire, and then I start adding the sugar and the yeast. So it wasn't overly hot because I heated the pot first and then take it off and then started to add the ingredients. So the pot was at the right temperature, so everything would start to activate. So this is it after 10 minutes. So now I'm going to add in the 4 cups of flour. I'm going to mix it in properly, making sure every bit of that flour is mixed in with that yeast mixture, and let it set for 1 hour. So while our dough is resting there for the hour, let's mix our room temperature butter, cinnamon and brown sugar. You can use granulated sugar and make this paste, or you can just use brown sugar. It just depends on, and I want it brown and nice, and the brown sugar will add more of a color to it than white sugar. So I mean, even though the cinnamon is already brown, but yeah. So let's mix this baby in, and I want a nice piece. All right, so I'm going to speed this up from here, right? Later, this is what we have here, and we have 1 more extra cup of flour because it's 5 cups we're using. This is when we are adding that, and we're going to mix it in, and this is the texture that you're going to see. Don't get worried, there's a lot of moisture in this dough, so you don't have to worry. Lightly flour your surface, and you want to start to knead your dough. Let's go. Okay, Google, 10 minutes alarm. 1:17 p.m. set. Alright, so we're going to stretch this for 10 minutes. So the longer you stretch your dough is the softer your bread is going to be. Whatever you're making, you're looking for a nice soft texture. Ladies and gentlemen, the longer you knead the flour, the better. Trust and believe. And I will leave all of the ingredients in the description and the measurements in the description. So we knead this for 10 minutes and then we're going to continue. And as I said, with the pan, I heated the pot first, took off the fire, and then add my ingredients so the butter melt easily, and the sugar and the yeast went in and everything was mixed in properly. And in no time, in that 10 minutes, our yeast was ready to go. So let's continue. Strongly suggest when you're doing the stretching method, try to add the least amount of flour on your surface as much as possible. So you see me doing this push forward and roll, push forward and roll. I love this technique because it even works the dough even more, and the dough is even more softer this way. It will get really mushy in your hand, but don't worry, at the end of the day, this is a very rich dough that we're working with, and we are kneading it properly, so everything is going to come together. All right, so it may look a little messy right now, but trust and believe this method, and you're done, you're going to have a real rich dough. Look how easy it is coming off that. You see how easy it's coming off? So don't get worried. So I'm going to and the flour that I'm using to even add to this is sifted flour. To make this rolls, I use sifted flour. All my flour was sifted. I did not just take it out of the bag and just use. I sift everything, so the flour was really light and nice. And again, we push forward, we roll. We push forward, we go in a circular motion and roll. And remember, your body temperature will tend to make the dough get a really soft, so you have to keep adding flour. And as I said, try to use the least amount of flour as possible. But ladies and gentlemen, the longer you knead the flour, and I will repeat it again, the longer you knead the flour, the softer the bread, the dough, whatever you're making would be. So let's continue. And I'm going to bake this at 375 degrees for 13 minutes. All right, so we're coming to the end of the 10 minutes here. This is it, we're done. You see how nice and smooth that dough is? So after we kneaded this for 10 minutes, we're now going to roll this out, and we are going to use this to create a nice shape, because we want some nice solid edges so we could roll this in properly. So let's roll this out and then add the mixture that I just made with the cinnamon, sugar and butter. Alright, so as I mentioned previously, I'm going to use the scraper just to tighten the edges, so when time for us to roll, we have some good strong edges to work with. So we have a nice shape, and we are going to now add our mixture, and we are going to evenly distribute it throughout. I try to go as close to the edge as possible. So now that our coating is mixed, the rest on this, let's roll it in. So we want to start at the end, and we want a tight fold. So you ready? And you want to roll as tight as possible. Alright, take your time. Slowly running it down. Food police does it. Tight rolls. To go tight and roll. Tight. So trying to watch a few recipes on the best way to cut these things up and get some nice cut is dental floss. So I'm going to take the dental floss, pass it underneath, bring it on top, and cut it. That way you'll get a nice clean cut. Alright, so we're going to do that. I don't want them too big. Nice clean cut. Now we have them all cut. We're going to place them into a pre-greased baking pan, and we're going to let it rest until they have doubled in size. And this is what they look like after they were all risen perfectly. And I baked them for 30 minutes, as I mentioned, at 375 degrees. And let's put some icing. So this is my cinnamon when it's done, all finished, all cooked. It's cool now. It's not totally cool, it's cooling still, I should say. So I'm going to leave this set to finish cool out. Right? And I had another batch that I did. So we're just going to take out one from that other batch. So be kind, okay? So this is the first time that I am trying this, and it is really, really soft and fluffy because of how we knead this. So I'm using my homemade caramel. Alright, now let's drizzle some of this homemade caramel all over this. I mean, it is only fair. Alright, so we have that on there. And I have my homemade chocolate sauce. And I'm just going to put a little dollop of that on top of there. Just like that. Gosh. See how long my chocolate sauce lasts, people? Look how long I make this. And it is still running going. Yum yum. But before we go, this is my beautiful cinnamon. So let's open this and see the layers. It's so soft. Look at that dough texture. Oh my gosh, it's just perfection. Look at this. Perfection, ladies and gentlemen. I know I'm taking it apart, but I wanted to show you how perfectly cooked it was. Oh my gosh, true and true. And even though we just take it apart, I am going to devour this goodness. So thanks for joining me as I attempt to make some cinnamon. And I use my chocolate sauce and my caramel sauce to glaze on our cinnamon. Thanks so much for watching. Happy Easter to all of you. Bye.